Hello, again my name's Joe and welcome back to the video on the 2016 Holden Insignia VXR. So now I'm in the vehicle. This will be part 2 of the video. If you haven't seen part 1, it should be just below in the list of the YouTube videos. So this is part 2. This is about the test drive as it was for me anyway when I first jumped into the vehicle. Again, I knew what it was on paper. I got my head around it's an Australian engined Holden, which is not uncommon, but it's in a European built assembled vehicle in Germany. So again, this vehicle here falls under the GM banner, under Opel and Vauxhall, and you know, the vehicle, one of the identification numbers on the inside of the door jamb actually says you know, Opel on it, which is perfectly fine because it's Opel, it's German. And then VXR, which is what it's badged as, and you'll see it on the gear stick, you see it on the inside of the door cards, you see it on the door sills rather, you see it on the mats, and you see it on the rear boot. And VXR stands for Vauxhall Racing, which again in Europe is a common, it's like your, okay, maybe not as prestigious as your AMGs or your motorsports, but it's in that vicinity, you know. It's a true VXR vehicle, meaning that it's one of the ones that they've taken around the Nürburgring and you know, tried to make it as performance orientated as you can with a family car, of course. So this is a family car, 4-door sedan vehicle. The neat thing is the back seats do fold down, 60/40 rear split, so it's a little bit more versatile, like a hatch in that respect, but it is still a 4-door sedan. The model that came after this, which was the very last of the Commodores, which of course was a Holden Insignia underneath, it is more of a liftback or a 5-door hatch, but again we won't digress too much with that. It is mounted to a 6-speed automatic transmission, which you can use as Tiptronic up and down, or if you want to, like I do, you can use the paddles on the steering wheel. I quite like using the paddles, to be honest. That's something I used to use my Kia Stinger twin turbo a lot with, and again the AMG vehicles, I like the paddles, but you know, there are days that you're just, you couldn't be bothered really getting into it, and you just want to go work or go home, and you'll just stick it in drive and off we go, which is what we're going to do now. We're just going to drive along and we're just going to take it for a nice drive. The exhaust, you'll hear a little bit more texture too, and that's simply because I've had the exhaust done with Kobe Performance exhausts in Hamilton Waikato, so thank you to them. It is going back to them for a bit of fine tuning. What they did was they basically took the 2 rear mufflers off and made more of a stainless. It was a custom one because they didn't have one off the shelf for these, so they did a stainless steel exhaust for it, and it's nice, and it does certainly, makes the vehicle a lot more vocal, shall we say, but at certain speeds it's a little bit more drony. You can hear the front sensors just giving out to me because of the low exit. You may have noticed the indicators on the left, and that's of course European car. So that is one thing you've got to get your head around if you've just jumped out of a conventional normal Holden Commodore. Holden Cruise even, I think, has them on the right hand side. My HSV Club Sport has it on the right. True fact today, first time ever, I put my wipers on instead of my indicator in the HSV, which was a little bit embarrassing, but it is what it is. So yeah, the indicators are on the left, European car. So cruising along, there you go. I think we're in 5th gear at the minute, doing 50, 53. It's a nice place to be. The seats are very supportive. The Recaro seats are a big thing for me. It's not because they're a Recaro seat, it's just I like the feeling of being comfortable and supported and engaged with the car. Nothing's worse than having a very flat seat. Certain vehicles have that, and that goes with the nature of the car. In a sporty car, you expect not just sporty seats, railway tracks, but well supportive seats, and that's what these have. Steering wheel is a flat bottom steering wheel, again contrasting stitching which matches the seats. Paddle shift, okay, so the transmission 6-speed automatic, like I said, it is not like a double clutch. My wife has a Golf GTI, fabulous car, a quintessential hot hatch still in my opinion, although there are some good ones out there, don't get me wrong, and the DSG is much quicker. So DSG, that dual clutch gearbox, this is your normal old-fashioned 6-speed auto. Yes, it's got paddle shift. Yes, it's Tiptronic, so I can go into 4th, I can go into 3rd, and you'll hear it start to burn. just nice. I didn't go for a pop and crackle. I draw the line somewhere. But it's got a nice engine note now as well. But yeah, the transmission, it's not the quickest, so I'm in third now. There's fourth, that wasn't too bad. Fifth, slight delay, you know, so you have to allow for that. I find that different cars have different personalities, and you know, sometimes you just have to take a moment or two to get used to different gear changes. You get used to, you know, it's just like everything, you know. But it's not the best automatic gearbox I've ever owned now, in all fairness, but it's certainly not as bad as the likes here, like CVTs or stuff like that. The car certainly has plenty of pull, you know. We're talking, like I said, 435 newton meters of torque. 0 to 100 times on the vehicle, we're supposed to be around that 6.5 seconds. What with all-wheel drive and stuff like that, you know, you'll get varied reports on how that actually turns out. I'm past the stage of that, despite the fact I like sporty vehicles. My license is too important for me personally, but it gets up and goes. Okay, it's four-wheel drive. It's like an Audi Quattro, or like your Volkswagen 4Motion, your Subaru or Subaru, whatever you want to call it. You know, that four-wheel drive symmetrical transmission, four-wheel drive symmetrical drivetrain that they have. So you know, it's like that, and it's good, and it's good in the wet, and it corners flat. I mean, those 20-inch wheels on Pirelli P0 tires do a cracking job at keeping this thing, you know, nice and tidy on the lines. Again, I don't drive vehicles to the point now where it's dangerous, but I like to feel how competent and controlled the vehicle actually is through the corners. It's a nice cabin, it's a nice place to be. There's a dark contrast for the ceiling. You know, it lets you know when you're in here, it lets you know that you're in a vehicle which has been set up aesthetically to be more of a sports sedan than your average shopping cart vehicle, you know. So, you know, if you've got your Holden Cruise or your Holden Malibu, they're your sort of more entry-level Holdens. You get your Commodores, of course, you got your SV6, your SS, SSV. This kind of falls in there somewhere, and it's unusual, and that's why, like I said, with the price point and marketing, the vehicles never really took off. But from a second-hand buyer's point of view, knowing that they exist and knowing what they have makes them brilliant. You just have to put your hat on and think, well, let me see. I want a European car with European features because I like that, not because it's brand snobbery or anything else. I like the feel and the texture, and I like the solidity of those European cars a little bit more than some of the Japanese ones, if that's your thing. But you don't want to pay those European prices for the vehicle up front, or your parts and servicing, let's just say. This is brilliant because it falls right into that category. You know, I think it's a bit more cool than the likes of your Ford Mondeo Titaniums. They're a nice looking car too, and like I said, you've got your Kia Optimas and you've got loads of different things. But you know, for me personally, you know, I like this because it just offers that little bit of obscurity with practicality, with performance, with refinement, and it's a neat package. You know, it's a neat package. I could have gone out and just, like everybody else, and bought something that you see everywhere, and there's nothing wrong with that. Vehicles that you see everywhere for a reason. Good car. But these just, like I said, they're an unusual vehicle in a market that didn't really know what it was, what it offered, didn't really know why it was that expensive. People did buy them when they were sold them properly, and they understood this is what I'm getting for this money, and that's great. I knew they existed when they were new. I bought a Kia Stinger in 2018. These were about 2-year-old. They were run out at that stage, and I drove one and I thought, nice car, but I really wanted a Kia Stinger. I was just smitten. You know, that Kia Stinger was like 70 grand. 70 grand, that's a lot. Even today they're sort of in that sort of 40 to 50 grand price range, whereas this is more like your, you know, your mid-20s to late 20s to this one being early 30s because it's done 9,005 kilometers. So yeah, nice car overall. Nice noise. I can't get to 100 km/h zone right now, but trust me, It gets up and goes when it needs to. It's got plenty of power on demand. Yes, the transmission could be sharper, like a dual clutch could be. I totally agree with that. But you know what? There's definitely worse vehicles out there, that's for sure. And you know, anybody that's got into it has got into it and gone, wow, gosh, what kind of Holden is this? Is a new Holden? What is this? And I love that mystery that it is attached with it. I'm keen to do much more videos of other vehicles, not necessarily my own, because that will be limited to 3 right now. So happy to do some videos out there for anybody who's got a vehicle they want to talk about, or you know, and I'm going to be linked up with some other guys now soon to do various videos. So please give me a thumbs up, please share these, because I'm very passionate about vehicles in general. I always have been. Anybody who knows me knows that for sure. And yes, I am Irish in New Zealand, which is an odd combo just in itself, but hey, look at this car, just a good example of another odd combo. Australian engined, German assembled, with an Irishman driving in New Zealand. I mean, you couldn't get more odd than that, could you? So thank you for watching. There's 2 of these videos. This is video part 2, and again, this is my car. I like it. You don't have to like it. Everybody likes different things, I get that, but for me it means something. I'm happy with it. I wanted to share why I like it. I wanted to share what it is, because it's a little bit obscure. And hey, just any comments or messages, please leave them below. Anything nasty, please keep it to yourself. We all get enough of that as it is. Thank you, Merry Christmas, and have a Happy New Year.